Okay, well, hi, I'm Russell Kirkby. I'm here to talk to you about Sidarhael. Today we're going to talk about essentially making a character in Sidarhael. We're going to play it in the campaign. So we're going to begin with a few specific things. So first of all, there's really three main ways that you can play a character in Sidarhael. The first way is that you play as part of the Order of the Daughters of Twilight, who basically, that's an Eladrin order from the Feywild. They're kind of like the diplomats of the Summer Court. And they're mostly made up of clerics and paladins. It's a matriarchal order. Their objective, ultimately, is to restore Sehenin Moonbow, the elven goddess of the moon, back to the world. We also have a number of other options for player characters in Sidarhael. First of all, you could be a mercenary working for the Order of the Daughters of Twilight. And there's a whole bunch of different mercenary outfits. I'm going to read you a quick list, so bear with me for a second. So we have the Sons of Moradin, who are clearly a dwarven company. The Morg Van Chu, 5 battalions of orcs and goblinoids for hire. The Muldrayan Guard, a diplomatic human guard assigned to Sidarhael's palace at Highbrook. The Company of Solanor, which are elven archers, rangers, and arcane archers. Then we have a variety of mixed racial mercenary companies, beginning with the Lion Company, who are a medium-sized company that specializes in close personal security. We'll probably come up with a more analogous term for that that's more fitting to the high medieval setting. So after the Lion Company, we have the Red Ravens, medium-sized. They specialize in intelligence gathering. And then we have the Zephyrasti, who are a merchant navy that mostly do shipping, but they do protection on the sea as well. So they will, if you're shipping stuff from A to B, you might need some security to help your boats get from here to there without them getting raided by pirates or, dragons or whatever. So those are your main primary options as a player character in Sidarhael under normal circumstances. And in fact, in my Oathbound game, which is a particular version of the Mythic campaign, which is basically a very specific small group of people who are my friends and close family and such. For the Oathbound campaign, I've got all the players are playing paladins, actually, which kind of sounds like, oh, that must be terribly unbalanced and blah, 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 which, yeah, it is unbalanced, and that's kind of the idea. But it also means that they're very, very directed, and I can keep them on rails whilst giving them as much agency as they can have within the bounds of their character concepts. Which is pretty cool, actually, because then they can do anything they want and go anywhere they want, but they're working as a group because they work for the Order of the Daughters of Twilight. So it helps really in terms of driving the story along. And this is something that, I don't know, I personally find this useful. I'm just totally sick of the you meet in a tavern and I spend the first 2 games, or at least the first 2 hours of the first game, trying to get everybody to meet everybody else and get everybody to work together, and the rogue's busy pickpocketing the wizard, and oh my god, it's tedious and painful, and I've seen it 100 times and I just don't care. I don't care. It's boring, okay? What's less boring to me, and it's funny because you might look at this and think, well, these guys are just playing paladins and that's pretty boring in and of itself, isn't it? But to me, the point is that here's the deal. What I want to do is I want to play an archetypal game, and I want my players to play archetypes as so much as the world is very archetypal too. And the thing is, very few people in this day and age have actually played Dungeons and Dragons and actually bothered to play the core archetypes fully and properly through to the end. Most people have played, 5 different classes. They've never really gotten that far in any one of those classes. Then most people end up getting to like 5th level and they start a new character. I played Tomb of Annihilation with some people in Los Angeles, and we got to like the 2nd session on one occasion without like 3 members of the party dying. We did the same with Strahd. Just about every session of Strahd, at least 1 or 2 people, if not the whole party, wiped. And if you want to play those funhouse dungeons, as Matt Colville calls them, that's cool. You go right ahead. I like that too. It's fun, actually. I really do enjoy that. But that's not the game I want to run, and that's not what this is about. I put too much work into Sidarhael. I want you to see it. If you die in the first 2 sessions, I don't want to waste time creating and investing a whole new character. mean, that's okay. Maybe we can have 2 or 3 characters that are all lined up, ready to go. But I'd rather that you don't dilute yourself as a player. I would rather that you put all of your energy into one character, one primary character at least. So yeah, that's kind of my approach here. And so these 4 players in my Oathbound campaign are all playing paladins. They have a couple of retainers, and they are going to go through the primary quest line of the story, motivated by the Daughters of Twilight, essentially, directly motivated by them and somewhat controlled by them. But they get a lot of benefits and privileges for that. See, that's the flip side. They don't get as much agency in terms of, they're not going to run off and start a tavern because they don't have time. They're under orders, but this keeps the story going. This keeps the pace happening. Everybody's got something to do all the time. So yeah, that's one way to go about it. And I would be more than happy to run another game like that, another Sidarhael setting with people playing very much like a clone of the Oathbound campaign that I'm running now. So yeah, that's one really major way of doing it. Another way is to do a kind of a mixed version where you guys play paladins or clerics, but members of the order, and or mercenaries. So just to recap, you've got 3 main routes that you can go down. You can play the sort of an Oathbound style where everyone's playing a character who is a paladin or a cleric, and you're working for the Order of the Daughters of Twilight, and they give you your orders and you do what they tell you, basically, or you get kicked out. You could become an Oathbreaker paladin in this scenario, which could be interesting. In fact, in my main campaign, there is in fact one of the 4 paladins who may in fact be going to break their oath. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, and then the other option, the second option for Sidarhael is that you play a mercenary or a group of mercenaries who may or may not be working with members of the Order of the Daughters of Twilight, who would be paladins or clerics. Generally speaking, if you're one of the members of the Order of the Daughters of Twilight, you're probably going to be an Eladrin or some kind of elf. You can be in a kind of an auxiliary member or an honorary member if you were a different race or a different class. It's possible you could be a patron even of the Order in that respect. But generally speaking, if you're in the Order, then you're an elf. That's how it works. So this game is very elf-centric. In fact, an important note about elves. So when the moon was destroyed by Grumsh many thousands of years ago, and it was shattered into 10 squillion pieces, and all these pieces came shattering down, the tiny pieces did. The large pieces are still up in the sky, these huge chunks of architecture from the Temple of the Moon, which was the moon, and it remains there as a series of dungeons for the sort of end game. So when the smaller pieces came down to Earth, down to Sidarhael, they sort of rained down over a period of days and weeks, and these little crystals have become a thing, because elves in particular, anything with fey blood, they discovered, can carry these crystals, and they provide you with your hit dice. So the hit dice mechanics that are in the game, which to me seem vastly unrealistic, this provides for that mechanic. So these crystals, if you've got one of these crystals, you carry it on you, you've had it since you've been born, and it's your most precious thing. It's got a name and everything. So these crystals are very important. So that's part of the story, and that's how I want to integrate the game mechanics that I feel are less realistic with the heroic journey and archetypal nature of Sidarhael. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If there's any questions or you want to know something in particular, please feel free to send me a message or write a comment or, use telepathy.